Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school.
What is up, everyone? Andrew here, back with another video for you. So today I wanted to talk about my very first phone that I ever got. It was the HTC Droid Incredible. Got it during my 8th grade year before I graduated in 2012. A great phone. I just wanted to see if it could hold up in today's world and if it could even be used. Let's talk about that. So a little bit about my history with this phone. I actually got it as a birthday present for my 14th birthday from my parents, with the idea being that I could get all my friends' phone numbers before we went off to high school that year. And it was successful. I was able to get all my friends' phone numbers, keep in touch with them, keep in touch with my parents if I wanted to, if they wanted me to. I got to do all these things with a phone that I had never done before because I didn't have access to technology like that. And it was so cool. It was my first real introduction to the world of technology, aside from like our family computer at home, you know, like that Windows Vista, Windows 7 look, playing Space Cadet pinball and everything. But this was my first real introduction into the world of technology, and I'm really happy with it. And now that this phone is like a decade old, it came out in 2010, which is ridiculous. I just wanted to see if it... Junior, what's up? What's up? It's just keeping me company. I just wanted to see if you could still use it in today's world and see if it was any good. Spoiler alert, it's actually not that bad. It's not as bad as you would think. Some notable exterior features are going to be the prominent forehead and chin on here. It's got a little button down here. It's called the optical joystick. I use that to take pictures. And then if you see at the bottom, it's actually got a couple little like quick action menu or quick menu. I don't know, some quick action buttons that you can use. On the back, you know, you got that single camera. There's no camera up front, which is kind of a bummer. You got the one speaker back here, and that's about it. But it's a pretty decent looking phone. You know, it's sleek, it's pretty thin. So the display on this phone is actually not all that bad, surprisingly. It's only 3.7 inches diagonally, so it's really cramped. I'd say that's a major drawback to it. But for the time, it was actually a pretty good looking screen. Right now, compared to today's phones, it can fit, the entire body of the phone can fit inside the display of most phones that have come out today. Just kind of a fun fact, but yeah, it's easy to use, it's responsive, it looks good. Next up is the battery life on this phone. It was good enough back in the day, but now that it's been about 10 years since this phone came out, I wouldn't expect the battery to last as long as it did when it first came out because, you know, batteries deteriorate over time. But it was good enough for me when I used it. Needed to use it probably a few times a day just to catch up on things. So I would plug it in at night and not worry about it. It'd be charged in the morning and I make it throughout the whole day. So pretty good. But the good news is that this phone has a removable back and a removable battery, and you can actually change it out for a new one if you want, if the battery goes bad or anything. But underneath that back cover is actually a micro SD card slot as well, which gives you a little bit more expandability than the 8 gigabytes of internal storage on this phone. Not a lot, but it was pretty sufficient at the time. Most phones coming out had like 8 or 16 gigabytes of storage back in 2010, so pretty good. Not gonna lie, kind of suffers in today's world though. One of my favorite features of this phone though has to be the live wallpapers. And if you look on here, okay, on here, we can actually get like this little pattern here. If you tap on it, it gets a little bit of light going on. Pretty colorful, pretty cool. There's a couple more in the settings, so it's good to explore and mess around with those, but that was probably one of my favorite features. On another note, the camera on this phone is actually not that bad. There's an overarching theme here with this phone, and it's that pretty much everything is not that bad, even in today's world. But for the most part, the camera is an 8 megapixel sensor. It's on the back. It looks pretty big in comparison to some of the other phones at the time, like the iPhone 4S. It takes pretty decent photos. Where it lags behind though, and I mean lag literally, is video. It takes terrible video. It's absolutely horrendous. And I would not want to capture any important life moments on this phone using the video feature. But overall, anytime I wanted to take, anytime I wanted to take a selfie or like a front-facing video or photo, I have to turn the phone around completely and just look at the back, guess at what I was taking a photo at, because there's no front-facing camera. I guess that was a thing, apparently, but most phones nowadays pretty much every phone I can think of has a front-facing camera, and I'm recording it on my iPhone 11's front-facing camera right now. But the somewhat good things kind of stop there. Overall, it's not too bad, but when you get into the specifics, like the speed of the phone, when you're using it on a day-to-day basis, it's actually super slow. Like, you can put in a 3G SIM card for most carriers into this phone, and that's gonna give you relatively decent like loading speeds, but for the most part, opening apps and just opening up the camera, taking pictures one at a time, it's just so slow, and it's almost unbearable in comparison to like the phones and the things that we have today. That electronic devices are just so fast. But 10 years ago, it wasn't like that. You had to be patient. You had to wait for things, for like a camera to load up and to be able to take the picture and to take more than one picture. But for the most part, it's okay. It's just really slow and hard to use for that reason. An upside, at least the size of this phone, is that you can reach all four corners with your thumb, which is, you know, something that can't be said about a lot of phones today. If you were gonna try to use this phone in 2020, you would have to be pretty damn dedicated to this phone. It's slow, it only has one camera, the main speaker's on the back, your hand blocks it sometimes. It just feels so dated for just most things that you're trying to do. But for me, it holds a special place in my heart because it is my first introduction, real personal introduction to technology, and my passion for it has just blossomed ever since. And it's really ignited my interest and intrigue into that field. All right, guys, that is about it for today's video. I really appreciate you watching. I just wanted to say thank you for making it to the end. If you did, let me know down in the comments. I appreciate that. I'll get back again soon with another video. Until then, I hope you guys have a good day. Peace.